Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our TOEIC unit, and we're on day 2. Day 1, we covered 2 characters. One person was named Austin. He had just adopted a dog, and his friend was Bella. And Bella had more experience in talking about pet insurance. And so she kind of gave him the lowdown, kind of gave him the facts about pet insurance. And we don't know if he went ahead and bought it, but he's definitely going to look into it because it looks like he'd already spent quite a bit on his dog. Taking your dog to the vet can be expensive, depending on what kind of problems they have. Yeah, so this is something you want to look into if you're very serious about getting a pet.
Okay, so today we're going to listen to some information about an insurance policy. Our lesson today is entitled Essential Policy Details for Pet Insurance. This is some information that you might read on the internet or in a flyer from an insurance agent if you're considering buying this type of insurance. So let's begin our lesson by listening to today's lesson from top to bottom, and we'll be right back to explain it for you. Thank you for considering our pet insurance for your cherished pet. We aim to provide financial assurance for your pet's health. Refer to the information below. Crucial policy aspects. Eligibility. Covers companion dogs and cats, excluding those utilized for commercial, security, or racing purposes. Specific breeds are excluded. Please check the list on the following page. Age. Coverage is for pets from 8 weeks to 8 years old for initial insurance, with renewals allowed until the age of 12, subject to case-by-case underwriting. Required documents. A color photo taken within the last 3 months and either a chip number, health check certificate, or vaccination record. Waiting period. Newly insured pets undergo a 30-day waiting period for general illnesses and 90 days for cancer. During this period, not all coverage will be in effect. Our online insurance policies are only available via self-application and are limited to individuals aged between 18 and 70 who possess their own valid credit card. Coverage plans. Deductible. Basic 50%, Standard 40%, Advanced 20%. Inclusion. Basic. Treatments for injuries and illnesses. Standard. Basic coverage plus 3,000 NT dollars for funeral fees. Advanced, basic coverage plus 5,000 NT dollars for funeral fees. Annual premium. Dogs, basic, 2,311 NT dollars. Dogs standard, 3,088 NT dollars. Dogs advanced, 4,224 NT dollars. Annual premium cats, basic, 1,968 NT dollars. Cats standard, 2,505 NT dollars. Cats advanced, 3,541 NT dollars. Please note that the table above provides a general summary. For full details and conditions, complete the following form for a personalized quote and additional information.
Okay, guys, let's take a look at the essential policy details for pet insurance. So, the flyer first says, thank you for considering our pet insurance for your cherished pet. If you cherish something, you love it. And usually, you take very good care of something that you cherish. Maybe you have a friendship with someone, and it's a cherished friend or a cherished friendship. You need to keep up communication with them if you really do care about someone. Here it's a pet that someone cherishes, so you want to take good care of your pet. And sadly, pets get sick sometimes, and sometimes they need help from one of the vets that are in the city there for you.
Indeed, at a veterinary clinic, if your pet has some problems, you can take it down there, but it might cost you some money, and that's why you might consider getting an insurance policy like the one we're going to introduce to you today. So here are some crucial policy aspects, basically some points or some detailed information about this particular policy. First of all, it talks about eligibility. And that just means, are you qualified for this particular coverage? Okay. Sometimes, of course, maybe the government might be giving out loans or something. So you might say, oh, am I eligible to receive that loan? Do I have the proper qualifications? So eligibility means just will it cover your dog or your cat or whatever? Can this insurance apply to me?
Yeah, so this covers companion dogs and cats. So these are cats and dogs that keep you company, you could say. They're companion dogs and cats. But look at here. It says excluding those utilized for commercial security or racing purposes. So these are really just pets that you keep at home. If you use your dog or cat as a security dog, you know, they sometimes will hire those really big dogs like a Doberman Pinscher, you know, that sounds scary and that will attack people if they come to your property. This particular policy won't cover them. These are just nice, sweet dogs and cats that you have probably inside your home. Or if you grew up in my home, the dog or cat that was outside. Because, as my mom said, pets don't live in the house. Anyway, excluding means you don't participate in something here. So it excludes or it keeps these particular dogs and cats out. Some dogs are used for racing. Which I think is horrible, but that's just my personal opinion. They run around a track chasing a fake rabbit, I believe.
Yeah.
But people, you know, that's where they gamble at some of these racetracks. They won't cover those dogs. Those dogs don't last long. So they probably need a lot of medical attention. Now, when it says they have specific breeds, what's a breed, Tom?
Basically just a kind of animal. So we have dogs, of course, and there are many different breeds of dogs. We've got Labradors, we've got Irish Setters and Golden Retrievers and Basenjis and Terriers. And poodles, there are all sorts of different kinds of breeds.
Lots,
and specific breeds are excluded, maybe like the bulldog, because the bulldog has lots and lots of problems. So it's understandable that an insurance company would not want to cover your beloved bulldog because they're going to lose money by covering that dog.
Yeah, some dogs out there are very easily hurt, or their health is very fragile, you could say. Same with cats. So be careful on what kind of breed you end up adopting and taking home. So what about the age? Well, coverage is for pets from 8 weeks to 8 years old for initial insurance. That's not very old, actually. And you start to need insurance as your pets get older. Now, when they're young, so much. Now, here, they don't even start until they're at least 8 weeks old. And 8 years is really not a very long life for either a pet or for a dog or cat. So, yeah, I don't know if I'd want that. That's initial insurance with renewals. So you'd have to buy that first policy, right? That's the initial insurance. And then if you wanted to renew, you could. And you're allowed to renew until the age of 12. Again, that's not very old. Our dog started needing the vet when he was about, I would say, 16. So check into that. Otherwise, you're just buying a policy that isn't going to be used and you're throwing your money away.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get renewals up until the age of 12, and then after that, sorry, dogs older than the age of 12, or cats for that matter, are just going to be too expensive to insure, so they won't offer the policy after that. And again, a renewal is just an extension of the policy. You might renew your contract, for example, if you want to continue working for your current company. And, of course, here we've got the phrase subject to, which means that means we have to have this special consideration. We're going to have case-by-case underwriting. In other words, we're going to look at the cases individually instead of having a general idea how to cover these things. So, indeed, we will look at these cases one by one to determine whether you can get a renewal or not.
Right, they'll look at each particular case. Underwriting is a a term they use in insurance a lot. The underwriter are the people who actually provide the money that covers these policies. So underwriting. Required documents. What do you need if you want to get a policy? You have to have a color photo taken within the last 3 months of your animal, and either a chip number. If you put a chip in your pet, I don't know about that. You would need that if you have a chip, or you need a health check certificate. So you'd actually have to go get your pet checked out by a vet before you could even get insurance coverage, which makes sense because they make us do that for people too. They won't cover you until you get your health check or in writing where people can see you don't currently have cancer or you aren't dying from a brain tumor. They won't cover you if you're sick already. So a certificate is some sort of document that is proof that something's an official fact or something certain. So you might have a marriage certificate, a death certificate, a birth certificate. We all have those, which is just proof that we were born.
Exactly. So you could have one of these 3 things, a chip number, a health check certificate, or a vaccination record. Vaccination is the process of getting vaccines or getting injected with a vaccine. And, of course, dogs and cats do require those in certain municipalities in certain areas. So they'll need to see that particular information. And another aspect is the waiting period. Okay, how long you have to wait before you can start, before this insurance policy becomes effective. And here, this particular aspect says, newly insured pets undergo a 30-day waiting period for general illnesses and 90 days for cancer. During this period, not all coverage will be in effect. So if it's a newly insured pet, you have to wait for 30 days if we're experiencing general illnesses like a cold or something like that. And then you have to wait for 90 days if it involves cancer. Again, that's the waiting period. And during this waiting period, not all coverage will be in effect. Some aspects of the coverage will be in effect, but others won't.
I've never heard of a cat or dog having a cold, Tom.
Yeah, I had to think off the top of my head.
It's kind of interesting, though. Yeah, so there are lots of rules, and they have lots of stipulations, things that you need to really pay attention to. Some people will buy a policy, and they'll start paying their premiums, and then find out to their horror later that they weren't getting the coverage they thought they were paying for. So before you sign on the dotted line and you accept any of these policies, including your own health insurance, make sure you look very closely at the fine print. That means the little tiny font where they usually put the bad stuff in a contract. Make sure you look at it very closely. So during this period, there's no coverage that's available. So you have to have this waiting period. The last bullet point is our online insurance policies are only available via self-application and are limited to individuals aged between 18 and 70 who possess their own valid credit card. That's interesting. So they won't let someone younger than 18 get a policy for pet insurance. And also, if you're older than 70, forget it. You'll have to have maybe a friend or a child get that for you. If you possess something, that's one of our vocabulary words. It just means you have that thing, you own it. So you have to have your own valid credit card. If it's valid, the date on it hasn't expired. So you need quite a few things even to think about getting pet insurance. It's kind of surprising.
Absolutely. And here we've got a chart that basically gives you some details about this particular policy coverage plans. We've got basic, standard, and advanced. And we've got the deductible. We've got some figures there as well. Deductible just refers to what you pay at the beginning before you get the insurance company to give you compensation for whatever expenses you have incurred. And we've also got inclusion, which means what is covered in this policy. And, of course, we've got some examples there. Treatments for injuries and illnesses, coverage for funerals, etc. And also we have the annual premium, how much you need to pay every year for this particular insurance policy. And we have different rates for dogs and cats with different coverage plans, the basic, standard, and advanced.
It's interesting that the cats' premiums are lower. So they must have done some research and figured out that cats are healthier than dogs overall. That's the only thing I can come up with there. So the deductible is the amount that regardless of insurance, you will have to pay out of pocket. So if you see 50%, it means that bill that you get from your vet, you're responsible for half of that, and then your insurance company will pick up the other half. So even when you get insurance, you're still on the hook for the deductible, which just means the out-of-pocket that you have to pay. That's true with health insurance, too.
And the deductible goes down as you go up higher on the scale. So the more money you pay, then the less you have to pay at the beginning. Out of pocket, right. It's kind of similar to your cell phone plan, I guess. Depending on how much you pay per month, will determine exactly what kind of phone you can have if you start a new phone number or whatever. It's kind of similar.
It is very similar. So if you were going to get a new phone, you could pay, you could just go and fill up a card that goes into your phone and not have automatic access to the internet, which people like to do sometimes as well. Or you could pay more per month and always have access to anything you wanted, but it does cost more money. Same with insurance. So, so the standard policy or deductible is 40%, and then with advanced, you have to pay 20% out of pocket. So when you see that word out of pocket, just know that that is the money that you must come up with yourself and that your insurance company is not going to cover.
Okay, so we finish off our explanation here in this paragraph here. Please note, or please pay attention, please note that the table above provides a general summary. Okay, so that chart or that table gives us some basic information, but it does not give us very many details. And it goes on to say, for full details and conditions, complete the following form for a personalized quote and additional information. So yes, this is just kind of a basic introduction to this particular insurance policy. It gives you some general information about the deductible, the inclusion, the premium, etc. And if you want more information, yes, you should first of all complete the following form. In other words, fill out the form or fill in the form. You could say it either way. And you're going to fill in this form and present it to the insurance company, and then they'll give you a personalized quote.
I think it's interesting, Tom. I've never really checked out a pet insurance policy. But here it says they pay for funeral fees.
Interesting.
We just took our dog had to go in and was put down because his cancer was, out of control.
Pretty bad, huh?
Yeah, he was blind, too, and he was going deaf. It was so sad. We tried to keep him, as long as we could, but then it's mean to keep these animals alive when they're in pain. So we never paid for a funeral. I wonder if they're talking about putting the pet down and then taking care of its body after it's put to sleep.
Perhaps, but I've seen funerals for pets here in Taiwan.
Really?
My wife's cat died quite some time ago, and there was some kind of a funeral parlor for pets on the North Coast by Danshui and some place like that. So we went up there and paid a fee, and they cremated the cat, and they gave you the cat's ashes in an urn. And I think we still have that urn in the house somewhere.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that before.
I think that's new. Nowadays, people consider pets to be part of their family.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of people are choosing not to have children, they have pets instead.
We're not the same.
And they actually walk their pets around in strollers in the city streets.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's kind of weird. But when I was younger, of course, like you, we had a couple cats and dogs. And when they died, they just died. And we just took them down to the vet and had them put down, and the vet took care of the rest.
I remember one cat we had when I was a little girl. We buried that cat in the backyard. But for Maverick, our dog that we adored, I think Dad left him with a vet to take care of his body, but oh, it was sad, so sad. Well, if you're interested in getting funeral fees covered, then this would be something you'd want to look into. The basic insurance policy does not cover that, just the standard and advanced. So, yeah, depending on what you need and what you think might happen in the future, insurance is a way to prepare.And you may never use it. But you have to kind of let go of that idea. You can't think, oh, if I don't ever use the policy, I'm wasting all this money. But when you get insurance, it's to help you just kind of de-stress your life.You won't have to worry so much about having to fork over a lot of money all of a sudden if your pet needs some surgery.
Yep, the insurance policy may lighten your expenditures, or as Bella said, it gives her peace of mind.
Sure.
When you buy insurance, of course, you can relax and know that everything's taken care of if there's a disaster or in case of an emergency. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today's lesson.Let's move on now and listen to our Chinese teacher, and we'll come back with some discussion questions.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们昨天看了 Austin 跟 Bella 在谈到底要不要为宠物买保险，好像还是要保一下会比较好吼。所以今天我们来提供一个最佳宠物保险方案哦。这个宠物保险大概会长什么样子呢？我们也趁今天这个文章来学一学有关于保险比较相关的英文用语。好，首先在一开始的时候呢，我们当然就是会看到在这个保单如果说它已经都一写成文字的话，就是会有比较正式的讲法。例如在保单这个条款开始之前的这一小段的最后一句这边，参阅下方的资讯。当我们说参阅什么什么的时候，英文就用 refer to something， 因为一般我们说 refer to something 通常都会有 mean M-E-A-N indicate 指的是什么意思？可是你还记不记得我们说的自修或者是参考书叫做 reference book， 其实就是从这个 refer这个动词变化，因为它也有参阅参照的意思。那接下来的下方资讯，我们只要看到下方很习惯会用的 following 嘛，其实有一个介系词或者是所谓的介副词还蛮好用的哦。你可以说 something below 或者是 the information below。所以接下来我们就来看看这个宠物保险大概会长什么样子。例如现在提供的重要的保单的条款，在这个粗体字的地方我们看到aspect 它指的是一些面向条款，例如说有5点，第一点的这个所谓的 eligibility 就是资格条件。那这个 eligibility 呢，它的形容词叫做 eligible E-L-I-G-I-B-I-L-E eligible 指的是符合资格，也就是 qualified。 可是当我们说 qualified 的时候，好像是在讲这个人够不够好啦，是不是适合这个行业啦。在这里的所谓资格条件指的是谁才能符合买这样子的保单。后面当然会说这样的保单又出现动词咯， cover 会适用于哪些呢？适用伴侣犬跟伴侣猫。特别注意 companion 这个字， companion 是伴侣朋友，就是跟你作伴的人。可是跟你作伴的人有一个集合名词叫做 company C-O-M-P-A-N-Y。 那个 company 我们第一次在认识它的时候都会先记它是公司的意思，那后来才慢慢发现其实 company 还可以当我的朋友，一群人集合名词。好，那 companion 呢，则是一个一个的在你身边的朋友或者是伴侣，在这里当成形容词也就是说只有宠物狗宠物猫才可以保这个保单，但是如果是商业保全竞赛用途的动物就不适用咯。我们在同样的第一点资格条件后面有一个逗点excluding， 它就是我们常用的包含什么什么的反义，因为 include 是包含，而 exclude 就是排除。所以如果是有刚才提到的这些用途，如果 those utilized 被用来， those that are utilized 也是关系子句的简化。如果是被用来有商业安全竞赛用途的这些犬或者是猫， 就是没有办法适合。还有呢，同样在资格条件的第二句，有一些特定的品种，特定很明确会说出来哦 ，specific 品种。breed 是不包括的，可能因为这些品种啊，它可能本来寿命就比较短，或者是比较多病，我们可能要选择一个宠物狗或宠物猫的时候，那如果是那样子的情况，有时候保险公司是不予承保的。那接下来第二个就谈到年纪咯，如果是年纪的话呢，一开始最早什么时候可以保呢？8周到8岁的时候，在这个保险条款里面。那我们说的初次投保就可以特别注意，在这里有一个字叫做 initial 指的是最初一开始的。那我们口语常会讲最初一开始第一次会用 first， 可是如果写成文字比较正式，那就叫做 initial 最初。但是同样在这里要特别注意，后面逗点之后啊有一个 subject 在这边啊，先把 subject to 这两个字抓在一起，而且 to 是一个介系词哦。在这里 subject 就不是科目的意思，它指的是取决于什么什么，是什么什么而定，也就是 depending on 的意思。好，接下来当然会需要一些文件啦，还有疫苗接种啦。特别注意疫苗接种3这个地方 vaccination， 那这个 vaccination 是集合名词，就是谈打疫苗或者是疫苗接种这件事。如果你去打一针一针的那个疫苗叫做 vaccine， vaccine 疫苗接种，在这里看到的叫做 vaccination。好，比较特别的是第4点，其实不管是宠物保险还是人身的保险，只要是保险的话，大概就要等待一些行政作业的时间。那这里的等待呢，我们看到30天，不过看到的动词是 undergo， 在第4点的第一句哦 undergo。 那最后呢30天，甚至有时候可能会到90天之后，保障才会生效。那在那之前不一定所有条款都会生效，那生效呢就表示有效果，会得到理赔，在这里就用 in effect 这个形容词片语 in effect 在第4点第2句最后面的地方。好，而且线上保单呢就是自己可以自助申请啦，只要是18到70岁而且持有有效的信用卡个人都可以直接透过网路来申请。在第5段有一个透过自己的申请的透过，可以把 via 这个字把它圈出来，透过什么样的方式。好，最后面的有效的信用卡哦，有效的这个叫做 valid， valid， 不能刷卡然后结果呢请不到保险。好，那接下来就看到一个表格，就是保险方案 coverage plan。保险方案当中，我们来看一下最上面的列的地方，从 basic、standard 到 advanced 有3个不同的方案。左边的栏呢的这个 deductible 指的是自付额的意思，也就是如果今天有产生什么样的开销，然后往右边看，基本款的话，你的自付额就是要自付 50%。那标准的话可能要自付 40%， 如果进阶版当然保费比较高，你只要自付 20%。 我们看到在标准跟进阶当中 inclusion 里面的包含项目就包含，甚至在标准跟进阶都还有丧葬费用哦，这个丧葬费用就用葬礼 funeral 加上费用 funeral fees。好，所以以上呢我们看了一下保险方案，是不是觉得保险真的是很专业呢？如果有养宠物的话，或许也可以考虑一下替你的狗狗或者是猫咪买个保险哦。以上是我们今天的内容，我是安娜，我们下次见。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got a couple of discussion questions regarding insurance for pets. And the first question is, do you believe that pet insurance companies should have age restrictions for coverage? Discuss the advantages and disadvantages.
Well, I thought that was interesting that they have age restrictions. And this particular policy that we took a look at, that we kind of made up, it's probably based on something that's real. I think the age restrictions are so extreme, I would think, why am I buying this? Because really, we didn't need a vet to help with our dogs or cats until they were significantly old. The cats were past, we had a cat that lived to 14. We did go once to the vet when he was attacked by some other cats in the neighborhood. Cats are mean to other cats. And then our dog didn't need any help until he had cancer, and that was really late in his life. And based on these age restrictions, we couldn't even use this insurance policy.
Right, and of course they may have age restrictions for insurance for regular people, and of course some insurance companies don't insure you after a certain age because you're going to start getting more and more sick, and they're going to have to pay more and more money, so they don't want to insure you. Here's the second question. Why do you think pet insurance policies exclude certain breeds? In your opinion, is this practice fair?
I do think it's fair. Insurance and policies are based on risk. Risk to the person that's getting the policy and risk to the company. Of course, companies want to have lower risks. And so there are certain breeds of cats and dogs that just are very, very fragile. Their health is fragile. They're always having problems. Certain breeds, because of the way they were bred, come down with cancer more easily. Or my mom had a cute little bulldog. They have skin infections all the time because they have those rolls of skin on their faces that make them adorable. But so certain breeds are really tough. So if the insurance company wants to make any money and stay in business, they exclude certain breeds.
They should. I agree with this. In my experience, pure breed animals always have more problems, okay? If you get the mixed breeds, if you get a mutt or something, or a dog from an animal shelter, you're going to have a nice healthy pet there. They're probably going to be very less burdensome when you raise it for its whole life. But if you get pure breed dogs, you're looking for trouble. Well, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today, and we wish you the best of luck if you want to insure your cherished pet. And please join us again next time for another edition of our program. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.